You might think that if you're one of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet and your job is to beat people up, that you're going to want to stay away from psychedelics. You're never going to want to touch them. Well, Donald Cerrone and Joe Schilling proved that wrong. Cowboy Cerrone and Joe Schilling are two of the rarest, realest, baddest people on the planet. Joe Schilling, arguably one of the best kickboxers in the world. Donald Cerrone has the UFC record for the very most wins. And both of these guys, they live a fucking life. Like, the life that they live is unlike anything that you would ever expect. And including things that they do that you might not expect, like psilocybin, microdosing. Like, we dive deep into the truth of everything that goes on in these guys' lives to optimize their performance, their life, their enjoyment of everything they can possibly do. And as an homage to that and our longtime affiliation and friendship with Donald Cerrone, we got this badass new BMF shirt that's available now on it.com/Aubrey if you're interested. And definitely hang out to check out this podcast and dive inside the minds for the first time ever of both Donald and Joe and me on the same fucking podcast. Enjoy it, everybody. We got the clap, gentlemen. It's official. We're here.
That's the go?
That's the go. That's the go. What were you thinking, man?
I don't know.
What were you thinking? It was a clap, you know? It's for sound and stuff.
checking.
Damn. Cowboy Cerrone, Joe Schilling on the same podcast. Wow.
Crazy.
You're welcome, everybody. That's all I got to say. Joe, how you feeling, bud?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You been having fun in Austin, man?
Man, I really like Austin. It's
Yeah.
a cool city.
Yeah.
Real cool city.
Did you have a lot of fun yesterday? Dude, let's just jump into that. Did you have fun yesterday?
Right.
Our friend Tim Kennedy came and he did a little wrestling. He was doing a little wrestling with you.
Yeah, Tim Kennedy is he's an actual killer. Man. Cowboy had been telling me for a while, Tim Kennedy's a murderer. But yeah, it was wrestling with him was not fun. I can only imagine if he had a knife or
Yeah.
In a dark hallway
in a
and some
dark
gloomy
hallway.
Afghan rundown shack, and he was
Right.
like, "Oh, this is the
Well,
guy."
at least you wouldn't have to be thinking about how bad it went because it would just be all over. You know, it'd be just lights out. So, there'd be game over. But now you can marinate on it. Why don't you give us a play-by-play? How'd it go, bud?
Man, it went, I don't know, it was just a normal, awful wrestling practice, right?
Did he do anything rude, like pet your head or like whisper sweet nothings in your ear?
No.
He petted my head.
He petted your head?
Yeah, I had a cut open up on my forehead, and he stuck his finger in it, and then rubbed blood all over my face.
Ooh,
Thanks.
like war paint.
Like, thanks, Tim. Appreciate that.
Yeah. That's freaky.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah.
Tim has that reputation. Maybe Joe, he was just, being a little sensitive because he knows he really doesn't want to spar you. It was probably the other side of the coin where he's like, yeah, I'll be mostly rude, but I'll leave this guy a hall pass.
I didn't think it was rude. I mean, no, it was just a tough practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you got another fight coming up, right?
Mm-hmm. October 4th.
October 4th. You've been on a fucking smash and grab rampage. Like just running through people. Anticipating more of the same on October 4th.
I'm really enjoying MMA. I keep getting better every fight, and it's becoming more and more comfortable with it. So so got a couple more improvements to go, and then we'll see where I'm at.
The thing about both you guys, and you've been on a great run too. I want to talk about the turnaround too, because we've been talking through this whole process, and you were doing some sweat lodge stuff that really actually started to turn it, and you like hit me up.
Yeah.
And because there was a time there, I think, where most of us were watching you fight and we're like, man, it's been a fucking great run. It's been a great run. Like, man, like that was awesome, Donald. Like, really, you fucking killed it. You should be so proud of yourself and been on a great run. But you were like, no, I'm still running.
Yeah, still running.
I'm fucking still running. So shut up. And we're like, yeah, okay, man, whatever. But then you started fucking running again. And like one of the catalysts that you were saying to me was you started doing the sweat lodge in the Inipi tradition.
Yeah. I feel naked here without it. We haven't been doing it at all. And I get back home Saturday, like, man, first thing we're doing is firing up the sauna. We know we do it every day. Sauna every day. It's fun, man, playing music and wearing these stupid ass sauna hats. And everyone's like, what are all those hats for? And
they're to protect your ears because it's so hot. Your
so
fucking
hot.
ears will roast.
Well,
That's why you wear silly elf hats.
Yeah.
And where
were we just at? Where were we? In Chicago.
Welcome to the podcast, Jafar. How are you doing there,
That's
bud?
LaFonda. He's our wrestling coach. And we went to a Russian sweat lodge, and they were banya, and they were dunking them in water, and I was like, "That's what you do with those."
Oh, that's smart.
Dumping them in ice cold water. Yeah, it's like. Oh.
But they also beat you with sticks. Did they do that there?
I did. I had a stick beating treatment by a guy that I thought enjoyed it more than I did.
Right, for sure.
For sure.
When I was in Moscow, it was just the chunkiest Russian dude.
That's exactly
with his
what it
balls just butt ass naked, his balls just sweating on me, just beating me with sticks and leaves, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, I am not interested in this treatment here at all. And then they're like, oh, it brings blood flow to the skin. Sure, like I get it, but I'm not interested. Not my jam.
Not my jam. But we get it really hot. We get it so hot in our sauna, we melt the lights. Lights are melted. Fire, smoke detector melted off the wall.
Well, that might be because you built it yourself, like fucking Christmas Vacation style, where you're putting up your own lights.
It's really good though. Like it's really comfortable. You can fit a lot of people in there. Like it's a good time.
Yeah.
But you did do it traditionally for a little while though, right? Like, didn't you have someone like fucking re-engage your warrior spirit or some shit? Some like fucking sweat lodge shaman?
That also, we went, I'm going to build one of those too, now that you speak on that. But yeah, with what's the kid's name? Caleb, with the Indian, we went down, he has like a proper Wednesday afternoon Indian sweat lodge, which the Indian ladies are the toughest things I've ever seen in my life because I'm dying. And they're in like full outfits with blankets on.
Right, because in the Lakota tradition, women cannot wear, they have to cover their whole body pretty much.
And I'm like crying, like, it's so hot, I can't even take it.
Yeah,
and they're just back there.
They're in a fucking moo-moo.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. You know what? That's a very.
There's just a lot of rules there. There's
a lot of rules.
At my sauna, there's no rule. You can have a beer in there if you want. It's pretty open.
Yeah, it's a different thing though. I mean, both are super valuable, but I think it was good because there's something with the prayers and the music. I mean, this is a tradition of the people, the Native Americans, the people of this land have been doing this for thousands of years, and like some of those songs and some of those prayers. And some of the ways that handles is a pretty powerful medicine, but it would be a lot to do that like every day. And also, the rules are prohibitive. Like when I'll do traditional sweat lodges and I'll bring, some girls there with me, like Whitney will go and they'll be like, you have to wear this muumuu. And she'll be just looking at him like,
and
I have to do what?
Yeah.
I have to wear a fucking muumuu. So there's some traditions that are definitely challenging.
I mean, I can't even express how hot it is. It is like, for one, there's not even any fire in there. They just get these lava rocks molten hot, bring them in with deer antlers, and you're like, oh, how bad could this suck? Like wishing you could have an exit hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, you can leave if you want to, you just can't come back in. And then you don't want to be the guy that crawls out while the women are just sitting there with their ponchos on. You're like, oh, dude, it feels like my face is melting off. And the singing helps because, at least where we did it, they would like say a verse and then everyone would kind of yell it back.
Yep.
And the yelling back is just you get really yelling, oh, fuck, it's fucking hot in here. Like, in an Indian language, I think.
Yeah. And it's like, it's actually praying for help. Like it'll get hot enough. Like probably, most of us, we have, especially, and this is something else I want to talk about, especially like because we've been introduced to psychedelics in our lives, like we have some spiritual understanding of a greater force. Maybe we like the word God, maybe we don't like the word God, but probably most of us don't try to pray until shit gets really fucked up.
Even then I don't.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Like things, and that's typical human beings. Like it's not like I deny the existence of the possibility for things to come in and help me, but I have to be like crawling around on the ground, not knowing if I want to vomit or cry.
You're either really sick or you're really fucking in trouble when you bring Jesus and God into the conversation. Right? When
You're like all of them. You're like Zeus, whoever we got here.
Somebody
Help. But I think that situation, so the Sweat Lodge, a lot of those songs are prayer songs, Wakantanka, like the Great Spirit. It's so bad that you almost have to surrender and be like, just fucking help. You know, and I think that's part of the medicine. It's the medicine of taking away the ego, which says, oh, I got all this on my own, and saying, all right, it's okay to ask for help here from like the forces that be.
Well, there's got to be some sort of power in it where all over the world in different areas. Like when I was in Finland, they did something similar but different. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be something involved with the sauna
no doubt.
session.
And
you know what I
in
mean? No matter what
Mesoamerica,
you're praying or thinking or whatever.
Yeah. Mesoamerica, it's the temescal, which is the same idea. Instead of blankets and a teepee, it's stone. So it's like a little stone.
That's how I'm
igloo.
gonna do mine.
So when I was in Finland, they would have a fire in a room, in like a closed room, and they'd let the fire burn all the way out. And then people would go in, they would let the smoke out, and then like the whole room was just like torched and super, super fucking hot. You sit on wood and it would just burn you. Crazy hot.
All the different cultures have realized that there's ways to get transformation somewhat high, but also like massive transformation just with the natural elements, heat, cold, breath, you know, like movement, dance, like all of these different things they all work, you know, like there's all ways to like affect the human body in an interesting way. And I don't know, man. I mean, I think that seemed to me to be one of the turning points for you, instead of being at the end of your run, being like, no, I think I got this. And you were right. You were right. You still got this.
Still got this. I love it though, man. Like Andrew took a sparring. I was telling you the other day, I had so much fun sparring the other night. I love this sport. Like today we had jiu-jitsu with Big Ten again. And like, I love like the physicality of going out there and training and enjoying my day to day, right? Like some days I feel like I have to go to work, but most of the time I get to go to work, you know, I get the opportunity to go do what I love. And as cliche as that sounds, I thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like today, you know, there's a room of black belts and I'm like, God, we get to go roll with a bunch of guys that are going to use their skills I want to see what they got. Let's go. You talk about, you know, checking your ego. I love it. I love to see what they have. And to me, that's the funnest part of all. And then I get a September 14th, get the showdown, the real deal,
right.
Holyfield.
JFG, yeah. But you do that that's your attitude towards all life, right? Like, what are you doing on Thursday? You're going barefoot skiing, pulled by a helicopter.
Yeah.
Like, that's the same shit. That's the same
That's
shit.
what I was just thinking when he was talking.
It's
I was
the
like,
same.
we have
It's
so
like,
much fun doing all the other shit. It's
Yeah.
that's just one part of the day.
And like, if you were doing all the other shit, you'd just be watching fighting on TV going like, damn, I wonder what that's like. You couldn't handle it. Right. Cowboy, if you weren't fighting, you could not handle that shit. Because if you see something exciting, it could be underwater, it could be in the air, it could be fucking in the whatever. You're like, oh yeah, I want to try that. And no way you could sit and watch fights.
And
it would drive you crazy.
100%.
So like, of course you're a fighter, and you then you can do the other stuff too. But fighting, you really have to train for. You know, like you can be kind of a jackass and get behind a helicopter with barefoot. In fact, you're probably going to put jackasses behind that same helicopter and laugh as they get fucking trounced in the water.
I cannot wait.
Yeah,
it's going to be so fun.
For sure signing up for that. On Thursday we're doing that.
I told Shane today, I said, I want to hold on to the strut, and I want you just to take off like a rocket. As high as you can go, as fast as you can go. And when I think I'm high and fast enough, I'm going to let go and try and just gain her as many times as I can into the river. That's my start off plan.
That's on brand.
You know?
That's really on brand. I like that. All right. I'm going to go back to this other thread though. So, all right. So Sweat Lodge, doing the sweats, and then integrating like psychedelics into your lives as well. I think you guys have been not only better fighters, but like, as far as I've seen, better humans. Like there was a kind of like a restlessness that seems to be, in my opinion, and I'm just observing from the outside, I don't know shit, but like there seems to be kind of like a settling of your consciousness that I think is translating to success in the ring cage, and also translating to success in just living life to a certain degree. I mean, would you guys say that the psychedelics have played a role in somewhat in shaping that aspect of your life?
Possibly. I think that, along with like maturity and maybe all of those things all come together at once or whatever. But I think that, yes,
Experience definitely plays a part too.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna learn from your mistakes. Some people do.
And some learn from other people's mistakes. I wish I was that guy. Like if you watch Joe burn himself on the skillet, you would be like, "Oh, I bet that's hot." Me, I'd have to go fucking touch it with my face and be like, "Oh, that is hot." Like I wish I had that. Learn from other people.
I don't know who has that. Right? I don't know a person who has that.
I think that's where you have like, it's for me, I've had like breakthroughs where you're, tripping or whatever, and psychedelics for me are like magic mushrooms have always put me in a place where like you get to an uncomfortable spot in the trip and it's something that you have to deal with or a perspective that changes, and then that breakthrough or whatever, then it kind of you kind of get it. Does that make sense? Like
of course.
Anything I've ever learned my whole life didn't make sense until that voice in my head made it make sense. You know what I mean? Whether I'm in math class and someone's teaching me something, until that inner voice in my head is like, oh, it's 2 + 2 is 4. Then you get it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think that those things happen with the mushrooms for me.
I think that's the main. I think that's the main reason why it is so fucking effective, is because it's you figuring shit out. Like I read lots of books, and they'll tell me impeccable stuff. And then I'll like read it and nothing will change. And then I'll do mushrooms or DMT, and then I'll have the same thought, and I'll be like, genius. I'm applying this to my life immediately. And then I'll go back and read the book, and I was like, oh, that's exactly what was said, like fucking in this book that was written 100 years ago. Like, congratulations, Aubrey, you're a fucking genius. You just had to tell it to yourself like a jackass instead of just being able to absorb the knowledge.
But you know it from that moment.
But
once
it.
You've said it, like once that happened and you feel like whatever, now you know that.
You know it. And even if you trick yourself and don't do it, like you always still know it. And that's the beauty of when it's like you finding answers yourself. Like what you're saying, when you touch the skillet, you know it's hot. Yeah. Right. Someone just tells you it's hot. You're like, well, how hot was it?
Yeah, well, how hot,
And what does hot feel like anyways? You don't know. It's like if someone's going to describe like an avocado to you, like this is what an avocado is. Like you don't know an avocado till you fucking eat an avocado and have some guacamole and shit. You don't know. You'll never know. Like, oh, let me describe sex to you. You're like, yeah, I think I understand it. No, you don't. You don't understand shit. You have to have sex to understand sex. Yeah, like it's called what the Greeks called gnosis. It's like knowing without just thinking about knowing it. It's like knowing it. Like that's really the only way that we actually know anything, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what it's like to fucking fight someone in front of people. I'll never know. I will never know. I got lots of friends. I can like imagine, but I don't know that. And I think that's the advantage of anything. And I think that's why I like hanging with people who do crazy shit and have like excelled, because they have a set of knowledge that has taught them a certain amount of things by experience, not just by like book smarts, but by experience. They've learned stuff. They've learned stuff that only a select few in the world have learned. You know, that's the good shit. Those people are always like invited to the dinner table. You know?
For sure.
So, all right, Gatesy, for you.
Yeah.
You already set the records. You already got the most wins, UFC.
But now I got to set it so far that these young kids coming up, they can't touch it.
These young bucks can't touch it. It's true.
Scary young bucks that are good at everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Grown up.
Man, the only thing I got left over is the man strength. That's the only thing I got on him. Which another thing you don't understand. Like, how does your dad grab you so strong until you become a man? You're like, oh, come here, you little motherfucker. Let me get a hold of your little ass. Yeah. That's the only thing I got on these young kids when we're in the gym sparring. I can man strengthen a little bit, you know?
Kick them in the neck.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, you love the process of it, right? I mean,
the process to me is the journey.
That's got to be the number one reason.
Oh, yeah. But
then there's the other goals are, probably, I guess like you said, like just setting that legacy. Setting that legacy is, you've always lived up to your word. I mean, you tattooed it on your body,
right,
which is fucking commitment. Like,
yeah.
But like you've always lived up to that anywhere, anytime mentality. And that legacy is a legacy that will never be forgotten, and that's pretty fucking cool. And it carried on. I mean, that's got to be I guess a continued part of your motivation too.
For sure, man. And that's just like a work ethic that I have. Like if you say you're gonna do it, do it. You know, like these kids drive me crazy that say I'll fight anyone anywhere, and then when it comes time, they're like, "Ooh, except for that one." You know, that guy, my shoulders hurt, and I don't really feel like it. You know, like man, I don't understand like the business plan of the UFC sometimes where people get to like decide who and when they want to fight, and it drives me crazy, man. To be honest with you, I'm always just what's the next day? Like I'm trying to get this one and hopefully one more before the year's out. You know? that's what I want.
The UFC, I mean, they must genuinely love dealing with you because you're probably the easiest person to deal with in the thing. They're like, whenever they need a fight, they're like, you are the number one. You're on the fucking number one speed dial.
Call, yeah.
You're on favorites all the way up at the top.
I don't ever need a who. I don't care. Just give me a win. That's all I need is a date. Yeah, you could give me the opponent's name an hour before I walk in there and fight him. I just need to know September 14th I'm fighting in Vancouver.
And it's not like he's on a list of short notice things. Twitter will come across the page and we'll be in the truck and be like, yo, so and so pulled out, and he'll be like, I'm texting Dana like right there. It's not like they're calling him and offering him these fights. He's begging.
He's going out there and getting them.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's good, man. That's good.
And I guess when I quit loving it is when I'll be done, you know, but still got a long run.
Yeah, or if you get a little stupid.
Yeah.
That like cuz that can happen, you know, and that's not anything to joke about, but like the effects, and it can be reversed. I've also seen it like reversed where temporarily people are like, "Whoa, that's the same story 3 times, my friend." Like that's when you know like take a chill, like lots of CBD, like lots of fish oil, like do some floating. Let's look at some different options here.
Lion's mane,
you know, and like that's the other thing. It's either no fun or you have to have an accurate assessment. But glad to see, as I said, and maybe maybe those occasional. Like mushrooms have been shown in certain research to have neurogenesis to help repair the brain in certain ways by changing the blood flow patterns in the brain itself. So who knows? I don't know. I'm not a scientist and researcher, but either way, I know that you guys are not repeating the same stories. And you're
not yet.
Not yet. And y'all are doing good as like athletes and as humans. And I'm fucking stoked for that.
Right.
Thanks, Aubrey.
Yeah, for real. And you're dad now and
I'm
stuff, like being like dad of the year.
You're right.
That's great.
I love it, man. I never thought. I mean, you hear people talk about how that changed your life, and you never know until you know. Till you know it, and it's unbelievable, man. How like that little fucker is just. It's so cool to see him like grow and move and learn, and every day he's doing new things. Like wow, it's fucking cool, man.
All right, so what are you gonna do when he starts doing the shit that you did when you were young?
You can't wait. I'm gonna cheer him on.
Dirt bikes.
He already has a 4-wheeler.
Yeah, he's got his own gun. He's got his own 4-wheeler. He's got his own leathers. He's got like all his own shit. He's got his own horse.
He got his own horse.
You know what I'm saying? He's
just so the people know, how old is this child who has all these things?
He is 14 months old.
Okay,
right?
good. Yeah,
but he's got all those things already.
Oh, he's
got like 3 dirt bikes.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's gonna have the time of his life. All right, what happens?
This guy said used to say like having a baby wasn't gonna change him. We're like, man, he's gonna change you so much. Now he's 14 months old and now he's ready to be a principal. He just had a huge kids camp at his house.
I know, right? You're
awesome.
teaching kids all kinds of stuff.
That was
really cool.
That was
really
a lot of
cool.
fun. That was so fun.
Yeah.
I wanted 14. We ended up doing, what do we have, 30, 34? 31 kids show up. And it was exhausting. I was like, wow, you guys have more energy than me. This is insane. And it was tons of fun. Wrestling and striking and playing. We played hard.
You caught some rattlesnakes and stuff?
Caught some rattlesnakes. Yeah.
Just did some stuff.
Yeah.
They're not going to forget that.
I hope not. I hope not. You know,
you showed me a text from one of those kids.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't have been more pumped.
Right. It was awesome, man. And the best was the parents like, oh yeah, sure. Go with Cowboy for a week? No problem. It was nuts. It was so fun, man.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. All right, so let's play this hypothetical scenario.
Okay.
Your kid going to school and he gets sent home because he's been in a fight.
Oh, it's already gonna happen because right now he doesn't like go to daycare or anything because I'm home mostly all day. So we watch him as like a mini tribe, man. Literally, like we just all take turns helping and watching the boy in training camp and not,
Yeah.
you know. But Lindsay goes and works out at the gym there, and they have a little daycare. First time he walks in there, there's a little 6-year-old playing. He runs over and double legs the kid and crawls on top of him. And
Whoa.
The kid is just laying there like, help, somebody help me. And meanwhile, Daki's just on top of him. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Like,
Oh no, these poor kids. You'll just have to teach them like this is when they deserve it.
Yes,
this is when they don't deserve it. And
Yeah.
sometimes the lines are going to get a little blurry.
I can't wait till my kid comes home and says he got in a fight.
dude, you know, it's cool. It's
Yeah.
it's like telling your kid, man, you'd rather be a gardener who learns martial arts other than being and then being a gardener who's in a fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you'd way rather have him know the skills and not need it than, of
Yeah.
course.
Totally.
Right? That's
Yeah,
kinda,
but I like obviously they know when they can and can't get in a fight and it's okay. But like I'm raising a man. Like that's what I tell my kids all the time. I want my kids are gonna be able to stand up for themselves. They're gonna stand up for women. They're gonna stand up for what's right. They're gonna have like confidence. You know what I mean? So when I think about them getting in a fight and like standing up for themselves and proving that sounds crazy that I'm saying that at a young age. I think it's dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's an important distinction. Like realize that the whole time you're raising a man.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a certain level of respect that you give. I think you can give a kid like a future man that is sometimes like almost like a ruthless love of like, it's always, the love's always there, but it's firm. It's like, no, son, you're a man. You're just not in that body yet. It's coming.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like
100%.
that makes the most sense. Cause then they know right from the start, like, oh, I'm a man. I'm just growing. I have like little, my muscles aren't there yet, but that's what I am. And that's what I'm training to be. And what does that mean? And I think you got it exactly right. He's a protector, he's like
but he's also got to be scared to death of me.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
He knows the ass whipping. When he comes home from school, like, yeah, Dad, I got in a fight and beat this kid up. And I'm like, that's good, but the ass whipping Daddy's gonna give you. Because
I think he'll know, Donald.
Yeah,
I think he'll know. But there will be a turning point
yes,
when he'll be like, "Oh, really, Dad?
Really?
Oh, really, Dad?
That's why
I'm 19 now, and you're fucking 59.
I'll still whip his ass.
I'll still
be in the UFC.
You think so? Yeah. Oh man, yeah. That is an interesting turning point for for a kid. When I remember the exact moment when I realized I was stronger than my dad. Like we were like wrestling around and I like got him, pinned him, and he couldn't move. And I was like 14, 15. I was like, oh, shit is different now. Shit is different now, Dad.
Yeah.
Like
go to my room now.
It's different. You got leverage. You got mad leverage. I grant you that, Dad. You got house and you got, you're gonna pay for stuff. Like I get it. You got leverage, but if it came down to it, Dad, like we all know what would happen here. And he didn't like that.
No, there's no way you could like that.
He didn't like that at all. No, that wasn't like his favorite moment, having to acknowledge the passing of the masculine torch.
But I mean, I think just like being there with them, teaching them right from wrong, and whipping his little ass. I think we still need to get your ass kicked. I don't think this world can go on like that. I mean, look at these dudes, the kids that shot up the Walmart. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I don't know, man. I just think there's a lot of things like these single homes where the dads are leaving, or the moms are trying to submit and play that role. They need it, man. They need like an adult, male, strong role model to
example,
teach them,
an
right
example.
from wrong. You know?
And like understand also like people with. One of the things about like intelligent processing, like, all right, if you feel emasculated, if you feel powerless, if you feel like there's nothing you can do, that's going to internalize rage.
Yes.
And when you have rage internalized and you have no outlet for it because you're doing nothing physical, you're not expressing it emotionally, it's going to compound. And that's the potentiality for some really gnarly shit to happen. Right. And like, but like if people are like encouraged to express that in however way, and also let people know, like, hey, like if all that's happened is you've been bullied and bullied and bullied and you haven't stood up for yourself, like it honestly, it doesn't matter if you get your ass whipped. Like the feeling that you'll have if you stand up for yourself and like somebody's bullying you and you go, fuck you.
Yeah.
And like, just go at them. Just fucking sprint like street Jesus, you know, straight at fucking Ben Askren, like sprint that way. Maybe you get dusted.
Yeah.
But you know what? You're going to come back and you're going to be like proud of your damn self.
Sure.
You know? And like whoever fucked with you, they may whoop your ass, but in somewhere they're going to be a little bit proud of you too. They're going to be like, that kid's fucking crazy. He just charged the three of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's the thing that's part of being a man. It's not about, oh, I got to win. It's about, this is a principle. And the principle is you don't cross this line, or even if I have to pay the consequences, I will pay them with blood and my tears, but I'll pay them anyways because you don't say that shit to me. You don't say that shit to my girl. You don't say that shit about my mother, or I'm going to try and I may fail. Right? Like that's it. That's the thing. And if everybody kind of had that.
If everybody had that, you know what I mean? Like that's pretty much like the line. And then you look at, like we're talking about these coward fucking school shooters and all these kind of people, like whether that line is super far of where it grew into or whatever, but like that, I think that's a huge part of that line.
If everybody who bullied them, if they would have just like, even if like, look, those kids clearly looked like they couldn't throw a punch to save their life, right? But like if they tried, you know what? Like they would have released that feeling that was bottling up. They would have released it. And then it'd be like, yeah, I got my ass kicked, but man, I really tried to swing on this dude. I tried, you know, and that dude doesn't go into the insane psychopathic rage that he needs to get guns to, which is the equalizer of that thing.
Because his whole life he felt like a coward because he never stood
exactly.
up to that.
And
that grew into like him hating himself, and that grew into him, you know, having no confidence and resenting everybody and blah blah. All of that grows into whatever. But like, if you can raise a kid to make those choices, make that distinction, be that person, be that role model for them, I think you check all of that. And long-term growth in the butt.
Yeah, no doubt. And how cool would it be to be the dad and your son comes back and your son's beat up? But you like, you know what, Dad? Like these 3 kids were sitting around, they were bullying me, and I just charged at one of them, and I got that one in the nuts first. The others got me though, Dad. You know, like you'd be pissed obviously at the kids, right? But you'd be so proud of your son. You'd be like, that's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like I know you're beat up, but that's fucking rad.
But it's also my job to get him to that point, but like to also prepare him for that. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about it a couple months ago. Like, can you imagine if you could go back in time and redo growing up and have all the knowledge that you have now?
Man.
Bro.
Oh man, I had so much sex in high school.
Bro.
I was the worst. I didn't get a girl. I didn't get a girl I liked till I was like 21 or 22. I like, that's crazy because I didn't understand. Because this is what I would do. I would try so hard. Everybody would be like, ew. I'd like write them poetry and like fucking pick them flowers from the street. I was like this romantic, like, and they're like, ew. And I was like, how come this doesn't work? And then like the girl that I didn't really like that much, that I wasn't trying that hard with, would be like, I love you, man. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll be together. But I was over. I was like a 0%. And I think about that and it's like, it's just things that you learn. Like how not, because I was lying and the girls knew it. I was trying so hard that I didn't really actually feel that way. I was like over trying, so people realize that. And so you like learn stuff like that. And if you could go back and do that, and then playing basketball, learn how to do that, playing life.
Be like the captain of everything, you know what I mean? The valedictorian, straight A student. I'd be banging my teacher. Like it'd be fucking, I would just run that shit. But so if I have, obviously not to that extent, but like it's our duty to teach our kids all of those tricks so that they can do it. You know what I mean? As much as possible. Yeah. I'm stuck on the kid thing. So I haven't seen my kids in a couple weeks.
It's the truth to try and pass on.
You know what I'm saying?
To try and pass on as much as we can. But the problem is the kids are going to have to touch the hot skillet to know that it's hot too. And that's, so that for you guys as parents, you know, I'm not a parent, so I'm speaking hypothetically from them, but for you guys to love and forgive your kids when you tell them it's hot and you're like, hey man, it's really hot. And they're like, whatever, Dad. And then they go grab it and you're like, fucking kid, like I told you, but they're going to have to do that. You
Yeah,
know?
like my boy, he loves putting his fingers in the light socket. Loves it. I tell him no. Get him moving away from it. Here's laugh, think it's funny as shit, and walk by and put his finger in and looks at me. And I'm almost like, fuck it, put your tongue in there. Go ahead. You know what I mean?
Dude, here's what you need to do. You need to get like one of those little Duracells that isn't
plugs.
actually a little zapper, and then like put it in one and be like, let him touch it, and just have it be enough.
Yeah.
So it's not like all the volts of the house.
But always,
which
people
could
always
turn
have-
him into Harry Potter,
right?
could be a
plugs.
bonus.
It's a little sticker like thing, and plug goes right over the cover. Problem solved.
Uh-huh.
No shocking necessary.
That's also
He's like, just do it a little bit. You know, just it's enough. Shocking,
okay.
just enough.
Or okay. Put the plug condoms on.
I'm with you with the just enough. Though.
yeah. I always like that. Yeah, I think going back to that same thing though, like if you have the courage to do the thing, even if you fail, it doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't matter. Like if it's your business thing, if it's your, talking to that person you want to talk to, if it's a friend that you want to talk to, if it's a sport you want to do, like it doesn't matter if you fail. Like you don't regret the times that you tried and failed. You regret the times like, man, I wonder what it would have been like if I talked to that girl, or I wonder what it would have been like if I actually wrote that thing or did this thing or whatever. Like we always screw up. We're going to screw up perpetually our whole life. But if we try, like we feel pretty good about it. You know what I mean? Like I remember even when it came to like fighting, like I remember some of the most heartbreaking moments were, all right, I'll tell you a heartbreaking moment. I don't even want to tell this, man. I don't even want to tell this. This one fucks me up still. I think I've blocked it out of my memory. Okay. So I just meet Whitney. I'm with her in Washington, D.C. She just wins Miss United States, right? So we're out like celebrating. Well, she got she got second, but then the first, I don't know, it's a whole story. But anyway, she finished second at the time. She then became Miss United States very quickly after, whatever. Fact checkers, that's what happened. But anyway, so she's out.
Which are the people that drive me most crazy? Like,
yeah. Okay, so fact checkers, there's the story. So then anyway, so we're out in DC and we're celebrating because, second place, she's a runner up, and it was still awesome. She's not a beauty queen by nature. And we're in this club in DC, and there's this, I'm feeling it right now. Fucking feeling it right now. This dude she's wearing a dress. This dude is sitting on the couch, and I wasn't looking, and he goes and he puts his hand under her dress and just grabs her pussy. Grabs it.
It's a quick Donald Trump moment.
Just a full on. And he was just sitting on and he's this pudgy dude. He's this like pudgy 5'6", like little pudgy fuck. And like I look like Whitney kind of told me the story because I don't think she wanted me to go like, but she told me enough for me to know. And I had that instinct then to just slap the shit out of him, like the full at the high, like as hard as I could, just slap the shit out of him. But fuck the consequences. But I just said some shit to him, and I left. I was like, fuck you, man. Like, don't ever fucking do that. And I was like, we're out of here. But I didn't do anything.
And it haunted you?
It haunts me now.
Yeah, I bet.
It haunts me
It kind of haunts me hearing about it.
It haunts me. Like that shit fucking haunts me. And like, cause that was a situation.
Yeah, for sure I'd be in jail.
That was a situation. Even even if I just slapped him, like something, like hit it, like he had to be hit. Like he had to be hit. And so that situation haunts me. Fast forward, or actually rewind. There was another situation. Fortunately, this one, I would have fucking probably jumped off a building if I didn't do anything with this one. So around a car, I've told this story before, but around the car, there's 4 guys. Caitlin, who was my fiance at the time, goes around to the passenger side. People are talking shit back and forth. They're like throwing pizza toppings on my car. Caitlin's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'll put my meat where I want, bitch. And Caitlin's like, don't disrespect my boyfriend. And then the guy takes her and like grabs her hair and slams her face first into the car. So slams her face first in the car and crumples. And there's 4 of them and they're big. And like that moment, I like went fucking, I don't even know how I got around the backside of the car. I might have gone Dukes of Hazzard, or I might have just ran across. Like, I was so blind, and I just hit that guy who hit her like as hard as I could. And then the fight was on. Like, Caitlin jumped on one of them, and then I was fighting two of them, which I wasn't like super Bruce Lee style, because he definitely clipped me really hard behind the right ear. But I like ended up like coming to, like, I don't have a lot of memory of it, but I come to standing up in the street. Like, where'd they go? And the valets are like, they all ran that way. I was like, fuck you guys. Thanks for helping.
Yeah.
You know, like, appreciate you letting me fucking go at it for a couple minutes of these fucking idiots. But at the same time, you know what? Like, I was mad that my homies weren't there and we didn't finish them, but I knew that I did everything I could at that point, right? Like, I flew around the car.
You could sleep on it.
I hit that guy in the jaw as hard as I could. And like, that was the right thing to do. And that didn't haunt me. In fact, actually, look, check this out. Grab that thing. There's the framed thing from in there. So actually, like, it was such a moment that I actually, like, Caitlin made this thing for me. So this was the shirt I was wearing, which is like a fucking shirt. And then the next day we go out to eat, and I'm like I got like, obviously post fight, and there's somebody scribbled on the wall behind my head right where I was going to get a burger. It just said "a good fight" on the wall. Look at this. I'm like, what are the chances of that?
It's pretty rad.
That's pretty rad. So that was the moment where I had the opposite encounter, right? And it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, I guess the thing is, at that point, there's certain principles that you have to be willing to pay the consequence.
Is this the lumberjack shirt you were wearing?
Yeah, I was wearing some, but it was like gauzy and tight. You would have hated me. It was all gauzy and tight, and I probably was wearing some fucking Ed Hardy other shit. I don't know. This was back in the days where you put sparkles on your shirt.
Sure.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, point being,
I get those days all the time. Not to that extent, but just I had an incident with the manager at a Dick's Sporting Goods that my man Joe Schilling had to tell me to let's just go ahead and leave. And it still haunts me the whole drive home. I was like, I just want to turn around and go fuck that dude up.
Yeah.
So just like I get those all the time, but I have to turn the other way.
I bet. And there's different degrees of them.
Sure.
There's different degrees. There's like,
I mean, the girlfriend thing.
Someone grabs your girlfriend's pussy.
Yeah.
That's a degree. That's a degree that's clearly over the line. Like, you can't really argue that with yourself. You know, like, you got to be willing to spend the night in jail or whatever happens.
Well, I don't think that even goes through your mind at that point. You're just murder. Right.
Right. Yeah. Like, that's typically, but I have a very active mind where I'm like, something happens, and even in the moment I see this tree of possibilities, and it's like, okay, well, here I am in DC, and I don't want to fucking go to DC prison or get sued or blah, blah, blah. I have this whole tree of possibilities. Doesn't matter though. None of those things mattered at that point.
Sure.
Like, some people may be listening like, oh, Aubrey, you did the right thing, man. Just walk away. I just can't quite agree with that. Like, I kind of feel like there's certain lines that people can't cross, and it's okay to have physical boundaries to do that. It's like why they allow fighting in hockey. Like, hockey would be a shit sport if you had a little fucking scrum and you couldn't just throw the gloves down and say, stop it. Stop fucking cross-checking me.
Now. They're at that point now.
So like, there's certain physical boundaries that I think should be respected. And as long as you try, and if you pay the consequences, like, it wouldn't have been that bad, you know, if I would have just slapped the guy. Maybe I get a fucking assault ticket. Maybe I get nothing. Maybe nothing happened. Yeah. Probably nothing happened.
If you would have just slapped that guy in the back of his head, like right there,
I would have slapped him.
You guys could have walked out. You'd have been all fucking.
Yeah. But anyways, I guess that's the moral for our kids. It's a moral for all of us. Like, know when it is the moment. Know when it is the moment where the principle is more important than the consequence. Like, the principle of trying, the principle of doing it, the principle of the thing is really more important.
Well, those people listening that are saying you did the right thing walking away, they probably never been put in that situation.
Right.
Like, they don't have the do or die feeling, you know, like you did.
And obviously it wasn't the right thing for you. It's haunted you ever since.
I still see
it
that
might be the right thing for somebody else, but
it was so wide and fat.
Learned from it, and now you know that bothers you, that you need to do more.
Me,
so
for sure.
Boom, growth.
Yeah.
I'd have been in jail. They'd for sure. I'd be telling the story from
I can't even imagine. Angle. I can't even imagine that happening.
There's certain things. There's certain things that are just there. And Yeah. I mean, I haven't thought about that story in a fucking minute, but
we brought it back.
brought it back. I mean, so it's like clearly like, Larry, let's be impartial. Let's look at, so I have a fear of consequences and a worry that kept me from having the principles that I needed to have. Obviously there was a certain level where Caitlin got like hit where I didn't think about it at all, but like sexually groped. All right. Whitney was going to be, that was somehow in my mind, the fear of consequences was more important than doing the right thing. And that's why it haunts me. It's whenever fear wins, like, cause that was why didn't I do that? It wasn't fear that I was going to get beat up. This dude was particularly not going to beat me up. Like, but it was fear of the consequence. So fear trumped my choice to do what was right. And that's the thing that I think for any man, like that's the thing that we all have to work on, because fear is a motherfucker, and fear will get us, it'll prevent us from doing the right thing in a million ways.
Or the wrong thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why there's fear, right?
Sometimes it's wise.
Like maybe Thursday when I let go a little earlier than I'm supposed to because I'm fearful that I'm 200 feet in the air,
getting pulled behind the
helicopter.
It could be a good thing.
Yeah,
it could be
a
right
good thing for sure.
It could be the
so
right
you have
thing.
to discern. You have to discern whether that fear is helpful or whether that fear is like putting you down a bad path. What's the feeling when you guys walk out now? I mean, you guys are like veteran. How do you feel, Joe?
Man, I think that moment they stage you in the back and then you walk is like, I always say that's like, we make or break the fight right there. But man, lately, probably my last like 5 fights, 6 fights probably, I've had my son's voice in my head. Man, I go talking about my kids again. Weirdo. My son, so my son's like a huge fan of me.
Come on, Sling Bag, let's tear it up a little bit.
And fucking, he always he's like obsessed with it. He'd tell you who I fought, when I fought, if I won, if I lost, or whatever. And he'll like not talk shit, but he'll bring up like my losses. He'll be like, "Oh, don't worry about that guy beat you or whatever." And I always think about like right before I walk out now. It's like there's no way I'm going home to that little boy who's gonna tell me that this guy beat you or whatever. But like ever.
That gets you properly.
Yeah, for sure.
That gets you properly fired up. That doesn't push you past. Is there a point where like you're actually too mad? Because I've seen that with a lot of fighters. Like,
I used to fight that way.
Like where you're just too mad, and so you're not as good.
Yeah, well, I think that was like fear. Like I was so. The way I dealt with fear was to get super, super angry. And like, even if I wasn't trying to be, like my whole aura and like everybody would like stay the fuck away from Joe. He's pissed, but it wasn't, I don't think it really helped me. It was,
that's just your look.
That was a reaction to like the fear that I had or whatever. But
it could have been you smoking cigarettes in your hand wraps too out there. I don't know. Did that ever happen? Or is that just the legend of Joe Schilling?
No. Yeah. I always go have a smoke before the fight. Always. And, yeah, that was true. That story was from when I had that glory tournament where it was multiple fights per night. I was going out and having a cigarette between fights.
Yeah. We all have our vices.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it calmed me down. It's probably performance enhancing, to be honest.
Yeah, well,
I'm all pumped up from a fight, and I go have a cigarette. All right, I got this.
Let it go.
One more, you got this. One more fight. All right, fuck it. And go inside and handle it.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, fighting multiple times in a single night. But yeah, I mean, I think obviously you see that it's about that zone of, because I've seen, I'm friends with Cody Garbrandt, and we're really tight, and I've been with him out there prepping for, and when he's fighting, like when he fought Dom, homie was relaxed. Homie was like so relaxed. He's like dancing, like having the time of his life. When he fought TJ, he was mad.
Right.
He was fucking angry. And angry Cody is not nearly as fucking dominant as like, chill, I'm going to dance and make fun of you and pull my fake tattoo guns off of my fake body and shoot like Yosemite Sam. Like that, Cody, is a scary, dangerous motherfucker. But the other one is also scary, dangerous, but it's the skill that it gets lost in the rage.
In the rage.
And I think that's the same with everything. Like if you allow emotions to ride that high, you're probably not going to be doing anything your best.
It's a scary bitch back there.
Scary bitch back there. So what do you do? What's your thing? How do you get in the sweet spot?
I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet because I'm still trying. Every time it's different. Every time I think I got it nicked, figured out, then it doesn't work the next time. It was weird. The fight I had with who was the young kid? What was his name? Hernandez. I remember walking. They let me walk out of the tunnel early, past the curtain, and the fucking crowd went nuts. And I was like, "Fuck yeah, motherfucker!" Like, you know, and it fired me up. I was so ready. Like, I don't know how to explain that. It just like, I was like, "Yep, let's go," you know. And then sometimes I'm back there and I just cannot find it. Like, who's the next guy we fought?
Al.
No, the Al LaQuinta. Man, I was back there with these guys and like, man, this is gonna be a long night. You know, like it's gonna be a long night, man. I just cannot find second gear. Just grinding, can't. And I don't know what the magic is. I wish I had the answer. I don't know. It's just different, you know. And
that's interesting.
Yeah, because like right now, if you told me I could go out and fight, I'd be fucking stoked. I'd go out there and fight.
Right.
But it's like knowing I have like September 14th and then you count down the days, then you make the weight and then you have that whole day to just hang out. And then Saturday morning, it's fight day and you're like, fuck, do I feel it's the day? You know, like, are all my pistons firing today? But they say you train to beat someone on your worst day. I don't know how much truth is that, but just back there in the locker room, man, everything you see these guys like Joe will put on some Merle Haggard Mama try to get me fired up, you know, and they try to say things and
we're all like playing like a balancing act trying to get him going. But like he super talks about himself one way. He's talking about he couldn't find second gear and couldn't find it in Al LaQuinta fight, which was a 5-yard round, complete fucking destruction. You know what I'm saying?
So it worked out all right.
Yeah, it worked out all right.
And that night. But there's probably nights where you're right that you couldn't find second gear and it didn't go so well.
Well, and then there's nights like El Kukui.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to get in there. Like I was telling you, normally like the nights leading up to the fight, I'm like a train wreck, laying in bed, like, oh, can't sleep, all worried. And I remember I came down to these guys the morning after weigh-ins, like, man, I slept great, and I'm worried that I'm not worried.
Yeah.
Right? Like trying to find something to worry about. I was pumped on that fight. I knew I was gonna go out there and throw down, like bell to bell. We were gonna just go fight. You know, the stupid eye thing. That's just what happened.
That's bad luck.
Bad luck.
Well, did you blow your nose? Was that what happened?
I do that all the time. It's just like my thing. Like I just walk around ranch, I'm like blow my nose. And they're like, "You ready? Are you ready?" I was like, "Fuck yeah!" When blow my nose and
he does that. He does that all the time at the ranch. It's like his nervous twitch or whatever. Yeah.
And then
so just a habit, because in a fight, like how you train is how you fight. So like that's gonna happen.
And everyone says like, "Oh, you're never supposed to blow your nose when you get hit in the face." Nobody remembers that.
And no
I've been fighting my whole career. I've never seen that shit happen before.
Have you ever been punched in the face? Like when someone asks these guys, like, "Oh, you know better than that." Like, bitch, have you ever?
Yeah.
Have you had that scenario? Have you been punched in the face and then had to stand there looking across the guy like and get ready to go into battle again? No, motherfucker. You know you can't. So it's just. Those people make me so mad. The Instagram commenters drive me fucking crazy sometimes.
Yeah. It's funny watching some people react to them. Like
I'm the worst. They get me in an argument every time, and then like I end up having to like allow them to win by deleting the comments so they can't keep going. But like, man, they get me every time because I'm like, oh, fuck you, motherfucker.
Your home address. We need to do a show like that. Like, oh, are you Dick Face 37?
Telling you, we should do a show like that.
Says here.
Yeah, that's like a little trap. They're just fishing.
Yeah,
and
they
catch you every time.
Yeah,
they got your bait.
They
know like, oh, Joe's gonna bite on this one.
Yeah,
you just put the squid out and he's gonna fucking.
And I think I just dropped the heat. Like, oh yeah, I got him. And then like, another comment. Fuck.
Yeah, unwinnable battles.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm scared to death, man. I'm fucking crazy, but I'm getting better. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary in that case.
Of course, it's the most vulnerable. It's the most vulnerable position I think a man can put themselves in, right? Because all right, you have it's just you. You have the consequences of your health. You have the consequences of your career. You have your identity as an athlete, and you have all of that all happening at the same time. Like how is that not going to bring up the deepest emotions that you have? Like it's going to.
Yeah.
It's going to.
Sure.
Like you have to sort some shit out. To
It's got to be the most stressful job on the planet, I think, because it's the amount of pressure and stress and worry and possibility is overwhelming, and like everybody's different. Like it's not scary for me backstage like it is for Donald. Like Donald's thing is different, someone else is different than mine, but it's all of us are dealing with the same issues, the same worries, the same sickness, the same soreness, the same breakdown, the same pressure, and yeah, it's the reaction to that of how we react to that. Right? How we learn from the last time, how we learn from dealing with all of that stuff.
All right, so check. Let me ask you this. So like with all that pressure and all that fear, like it sucks to lose.
Sure.
It sucks to lose. But when you're actually in that point where you've lost, I've lost in many different things in business, life, relationship, all kinds of things. Like usually when you're in that position when you lost, it's not as bad as probably you were afraid of the whole time. You know, is that kind of true? Like it's obviously sucks. It's probably the worst thing to lose out of anything. Like it's way worse than losing in a basketball game for sure.
Yeah.
But like nonetheless, like when you're in the reality of the thing, the fear that you had about what that reality would be like, the fear was a lot greater than the reality of like what you're actually like. All right, well, fuck, here I am.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It sucks.
It sucks.
It,
So
for we say it's different than basketball, but like the consequences of losing in a fight or like what we're doing is like our manhood, our pride, our finances, our ability to take care of family bills, all this stuff, taking a step backwards. What is this loss going to cost me for sponsors
year, right?
and fucking everything? You know what I mean? And it's 100% on you. You know what I mean? Like
there's there's nothing. There's literally nothing in the world that you can have that great of consequence and be that vulnerable.
Right.
But that means
vulnerability.
That means that
the most vulnerable.
That means that you're gonna. That's why there's so much fear and anticipation leading up to it. I would imagine, right? Because the consequences touch every part of your life. Like every part of your life, a win or a loss dictates. But then I don't know, man. I guess I'm fishing for the idea that knowing that when you're actually in it, you just fucking deal with it. Like, it's like, all right,
sometimes
I lost.
When you're in there, you enter that flow state, man, and it is incredible. It is like, it's like you can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You make shit up, throw it, and it fucking lands. You're like, woo! Everyone's like, what the hell was that? You're like, I don't know, but it was fucking cool. You know, like you enter this flow, and I talked
doing
about it on
stuff
Joe's.
You don't think about.
Yeah, it feels like you're literally playing a video game with yourself from a third person, and it's insane. And
that's got to be the best.
It's the coolest thing ever. It's like the coolest flow state I could ever talk about being in. You know, like it's unbelievable. They can't even put words to it because you're literally like, hey, Jay, jump kick, yeah, like you could just like I feel like I'm playing myself in a third person, and I see myself in a third person while I'm in the fight. It's insane. And there's only been a handful of fights it's actually happened in, and I love it, man. It's cool. It's awesome.
Crazy. It's like that fight we have that clip up in the gym where you hit that like 5-hit combination. It was like Killer Instinct in that bitch. Just fucking this crazy combination to finish.
Just do. And you just, it's one of those things that you don't think about. You just do. Like I'd be pushing the buttons, like, you know, and it just happens. Everything flows. And then there's some fights where you cannot you're like so concentrated on everything else, and you can't even jab. You forget how to kick, I don't know. And I imagine other people, with other sports running this problem too all the time. You know, I've never had the opportunity to sit down and talk with like a professional athlete of another sport, like deep, you know, like really get in their mind. But you talk about like the mushrooms and the DMT, and I've never done any drug ever in my entire life, ever. And I did DMT for the first time with you, you know, and it was like, wow. And that was like the closest to that flow state I've ever felt in my life. Like seeing yourself from a third person, right?
Yeah.
And it was like incredible. And now I enjoy mushrooms like I do. It's something that, you know, we sit around the ranch and take a heroic dose, and I'm like a sick fuck, because last time me and Jafari did them, we were around the campfire. And I was like, we're going, tonight's heroic dose night, right? And for all you don't know what a heroic dose is, it's like when you think you ate a bunch and then you just eat twice that many.
5 grams is what 5 grams dried is heroic dose.
And I remember they started like, what's weird about mushrooms is I could eat a mushroom right now and then almost instantly your mind starts playing you into the feeling because you've been there before, right?
Right.
So I remember sitting around the fire and everyone got real red and dark, and I was like, fuck yeah, this is a bad trip. I'm about to go on a bad trip. And Jafari and Plato and all the other guys had the same thing, and they fucking vanished to their rooms and hid under the beds because it was like but I was like, oh fuck yes. Like the twistedness in my mind, I was so excited to like finally enjoy like a bad trip. And then
enjoy a bad trip.
And but yeah, that's like
that means it probably wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't bad.
You spoiled the badness.
Spoiled
These guys, they preserved the badness by running from it. You run from a bad trip, it's going to be like a bear that chases you down and eats you asshole first. That bad trip is coming for you.
And it's just, but that's like the closest thing you can get to like entering that flow state. And I remember I was up with a bunch of guys at the X Games up in Aspen at a dinner table, and I was like, hey man, do you guys know where I could like get some mushrooms? And they're like, what, you microdose? And I was like, well no, I'm just like kind of reading about it and learning. My buddy Joe Schilling's trying to talk me into it. And they're like, man, we've never competed in the last X Games without being on mushrooms. And I was like, what? Like you're hucking massive air and backflips on mushrooms, and then I would just talk to him about it. Like this is the first time I really spoke with another athlete, except for my man Joe. That's a totally different thing because he's like trying to get me to do drugs with him. You know, that's how, like that's like my mindset. You know,
well,
like, yeah, Joe.
He sometimes has bad advice.
Yeah. Well, I'm just
so, you know, he's got good advice. He's got bad advice.
Yeah, Joe. I'm sure
that's part of being Joe's friend.
I'm sure they're fun and great. Yeah, you know what I mean. So, but when I seen these guys all at this dinner table, and they're light, like little light bulbs on their head, like, whoa, you want to try micro? Like we don't ever compete without him. I'm like, fuck, you guys are hucking 80 feet gaps while throwing backflips, and you do it on mushrooms. And then we just started talking about it, and I was like, man, there's got to be something to this. And so yeah,
there's no doubt about it. I mean, look, I'm not at any of their levels, but I tell people that some of the best times of my life have been skiing on mushrooms.
Right.
And people are like, that's dangerous, bro. I'm like, you don't understand how good I am when I'm on mushrooms. Like, I'm not imagining that I'm good. People think when it's a hallucinogen, you're just imagining shit, bro. No, man. I'm fucking skiing the best of my life. Like, I promise you I am.
My balance is impeccable.
Impeccable, right? Like, and I'm like just taking everything in. I'm like, if I'm feeling the other people on the mountain, I'm like with it. I'm just like that. I know I'm better at that. I know I'm better at archery. Everything I've tried, you know, I've been better, except for maybe sex.
Right.
That can get a little weird, and you can get like sidetracked and be like, wait, what were we doing?
Yeah.
So that's a risky one. But other than that, like even in archery, like even when I was out with Joe Rogan and we were bear hunting at bear camp. And so I would take a small dose of mushrooms as we were practicing shooting. And I was like winning archery contests against people who are far better than me, you know, and these things, just because I was like, I'm fucking on
it. I'm flow stage.
Exactly. See, I'm so relaxed.
It definitely doesn't help me with shooting. The one day I microdosed and went skeet shooting, I could not shoot anything.
Let's just clear that up right now.
Help me.
You're not really a strong shooter to begin with.
But I got worse. It didn't matter where my started point was.
Well, that might have been
worse.
because it got in your head, you know, like you were like, you started missing, and then the mushrooms were like, hey, Joe, you fucking suck at skeet shooting.
A couple good days of sleep with no alcohol. Like your body was in kind of a weird,
shape.
It's like, whoa, what is all this regular? You know?
This is good food, some healthy plants rather than some of the other things. Yeah, I didn't understand what was going on. You can't blame the mushrooms, man. It's not fair. Take it back. Say sorry to mushrooms for that.
And maybe I'm just not that great of a shot.
But it's an interesting phenomenon, realizing like realizing what the potential of these things are and like not demonizing them. I think everybody who calls them drugs, like, okay, like go for it, like call it a drug. And
Sure.
I guess you can fucking watch Scooby-Doo and make it a drug and have like but like you can also use in the right dose at the right time. It can be powerfully healing and transformative, like the research has shown. It can also produce the best time of your life. Dude, check this fucking thing out. I can't give his name, but I'm with a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just talking about psychedelics and all kinds of stuff. And he finally, at the end of the conversation, he goes, hey man, I won that Super Bowl, right? I was like, yeah, I know you won the Super Bowl. And he goes, what's better? Taking mushrooms on the beach with my friends. And I was like, that's better than winning the Super Bowl? And he's like, yep. And I was like, damn. Like you can hardly imagine something better than winning a Super Bowl. Like if you're a dude,
Right.
like, well, you guys have that, like knocking somebody out, whatever, blah. You guys like the closest. But other than that, for most people, winning a Super Bowl, you would think it would be like the peak experience of your life. And he's like, nah, bro. Like peak experience of my life is like I was on the beach with my friends and we did some mushrooms. We were fucking swimming and jet skiing and laughing, and it was the best day of my life.
I don't know too many people that do mushrooms are like, God, that was terrible.
Yeah, no. Well,
Right?
I mean, if they do the wrong dose with the wrong people in the wrong setting, the wrong idea, it can be a bad experience.
I want
I
those
feel
people.
like-
I want the wrong setting, the wrong people, and the wrong dose. Because I want to go
Donald,
there.
I'm your Huckleberry, son. I'm your Huckleberry. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's
That's
go. All right.
I want to go dark. I want to.
Okay, man. There's
get in
other
there.
options too. We
I
got
wanna-
ayahuasca. We got iboga. Iboga will
No,
tell
see,
you.
the ayahuasca, that's had zero interest to me.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Yeah, the throwing up,
Yeah.
shitting, and making
Yep.
yourself poisonally sick. That sounds like no fun to me.
Oh, that's just the good stuff, man.
Yeah, see, no.
That's the good stuff.
that's the good stuff.
That's the stuff you got to figure out.
Oh yeah.
Another thing that was funny. This podcast is now getting personal. All right, so me and Whit split,
Sure.
and we did a small mushroom dose after we split, like 3 weeks after we split, to celebrate our friend's birthday. It was a mutual friend, and it's her birthday, and she wanted everybody. She was like, no alcohol. I want everybody to drop in on a mushroom dose. Well, instead of celebrating her birthday, everybody was like going around saying nice things and whatever. Me and Whit just start crying, just like bawling in a pile together, right? Because the mushrooms were accessing all of these feelings of grief and loss, and
Sure.
it was really, really healing. It was like a beautiful healing experience. Wasn't exactly what our girlfriend was anticipating.
Sure,
Was
she wanted
going to be
happy
our
laughing,
participation, right? Is just us crying in the corner and sobbing to each other. But then, all right, so we bounce out of that. We both feel really good. We both feel really healed. And then I walk over to, we go transition into the pool party part of the day. So she's going to put on her bikini, and she takes off her clothes, and I see her naked, and I'm still on mushrooms, and I get this feeling of lust in my stomach that comes up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, oh no. Like oh no. And that feeling was so strong, and I knew like we're split up. Like I can't do anything about it. I can't like go grab her and like take her to bed. So I go outside, like I got to get rid of this feeling. It's too strong. Like I feel it in all my stomach, my chest. So I go out and I try to puke. I try to like puke it out. I try to like vomit and like get that feeling out of myself so I can like move on with the day, because it was completely overwhelming. Like the mushrooms heightened that experience and expanded it from what a normal, oh wow, she looks good, to like, holy shit, And so I get out and I'm puking, and I get this voice, you get that wisdom voice from the mushrooms, and it goes, yeah, keep on puking, son. Good luck with that. Puke all you want. You're never getting rid of that feeling. So just learn to live with it. And I'm just puking, like spitting up in the grass, and then you just start laughing. I was like, well, I tried.
I tried.
I tried, but there's certain things you can't purge.
Yeah.
They're just deep. They're deep in the animal. They're deep. They're way deep in the animal. And no matter how many times you try to puke or shit them out, you can't change who you are, Joe. They're deep. They're deep in the animal. You know what I'm saying? Some shit's just deep in the animal.
Yeah, that's funny you said that. Yeah, we were talking about ayahuasca. My first time I did DMT was I was sitting on a couch in my old gym with my buddy Travis, and he'd been telling me about it. And he played like some sort of, not like a shaman, but like some sort of music that was supposed to be good for it. And he had like hyped it up to me to be such a big deal that my reaction to it was like, so I did it like, oh, it's not going to be that bad. I'm going to be fine. I remember sitting in the thing like this and just being like all tense, like holding on to something, you know? And I had this overwhelming like voice in my head. It started like, you get like the tingles everywhere.
Of course.
And I start feeling like there's definitely something going on, but I'm like holding on, like I'm not going to do it. Like it's not going to work, kind of a vibe. And I had this overwhelming voice in my head saying, you know, just let go, just let go. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to let go. It's just let go, let go. And I'm like this. And at one point it like pushed me on like, let go. And when I did like figuratively let go, it was like on the movie Fast and Furious where he hits the nitrous button and all the lights go zooming by. And it goes, but like, so it's all shooting by, and then I'm going inward, like into myself, into my body, and I was in like it was like being on the inside of your body, like floating around, and it was very like water-esque or whatever. And I end up in this boardroom, and there's all like the like figures of my body or whatever, like my nervous system, my whatever, and they were all, man, it's so crazy. There were seahorses, and the head guy in my body was a Rastafarian seahorse, and he's like, they're all, and it's like a boardroom table, right, like a corporate meeting kind of thing. And I come in, and they're all like super happy to see.
Could you see you, or you were just seeing all of them?
I just saw all of them. Like I like was in there on the inside. It was so weird on my body, and the guy's like a Rastafarian seahorse. He's all happy to see me. He's like, yo, Joe, how are you, brother? Yo, Joe's here. And everybody's so happy. They're like, oh, what good? They're all so happy to see me. Like, yeah, Joe's here. What up? Swear to God. And then they're like, you know, what can we do for you? And I was like, oh, you know, he's like, we can change anything you want. I was like, oh, I had a knee surgery years back. You know, if you guys could help me with that. And he's like, oh, Tyrone, could you help Joe with his knee, brother? whatever. And then, I forget what I asked him, but I asked him something, and he was like, whoa, Joe, brother, we can't change who you are, man. And then I like drifted back into whatever.
That's the truth. That's that Popeye, I am who I am. I am what I am. You know, like there's certain parts of the animal that I think, and it's all ties back into what we're saying, there's certain parts of the animal that are just parts of the animal. And we can either, like, we got to respect that we're riding a horse, and that horse is our body. And we can train the horse, and we can train our mind, and we can be like a good rider, but we better love the horse.
Sure.
You know, because it is what it is, you know? And for those of you who haven't tried DMT, obviously we've been very pro psychedelics. Be mindful. Like, be mindful. Don't be stupid. Like, be careful about all the different things. There's definitely, you know, it's definitely not always the right time, and it's not always all the things. Like, know that. Be sensible. But when you do DMT, like, you know that there's something different that was happening. It's like, if you really do it, like, you're like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. This is a feeling that like you can't describe. Like, no one can talk about, again, like I was saying, like, just describe an avocado. Well, you can get a lot closer to describing an avocado than you can describing what a strong DMT experience is like.
That was the closest I've ever been to being scared like I am in a fight.
Yeah.
I remember sitting around the campfire, you talk about it, and I'm like, and then what happens? And like, what else? Like, how long does it last? And because I've never done anything. And then I remember as soon as we hit that pin, my best friend Mikey was sitting next to me, and I grabbed his arm like, oh shit, Mike. Fuck, I wish you were here. You know, it's like, I'm trying to get there past it. You know what I mean? It was funny, but yeah, that's the scariest I've ever been, like preparing for that moment.
And like whatever he described to you was probably not what you had, or how you know what I mean? I almost tell people like, don't talk to anybody else about it first. Just do it. Cause like their experience like makes you ever see something and you describe, like you saw a car accident and the police come and you tell them what happened or whatever. Your memory, it goes away from what you actually saw, and it becomes what you told whoever, you know what I mean? That you describe it as. But you know, I had that, so I was like, man, every time I do a DMT, I'm gonna go talk to the seahorse. I can't fucking wait, you know. And then the next time I did it, it was completely different. The next time I was like feeling the vibrations of like the earth.
Yeah, and you may never talk to those seahorses again, and that's the thing that you got to accept. Like, it may never be. It probably won't ever be the same thing. You know, it's going to be something different, and I think that's where, like, Terrence McKenna talks about people being nervous about psychedelics is. They work. Like, some things are going to happen, you know? So like your palms should be a little sweaty. Like, you see, even me at this level of I've been doing it for 20 years since my first Vision Quest at 18.
Sure.
Like even now, before a big journey, like I know that there's some places that this thing can go that are going to be deep, some parts of myself that are going to be revealed, some things. I have a lot of experience in dealing with what would be called like the darker things of that. So that it doesn't really bother me. And you're able to, like you did, kind of transform that and be like, all right, well, we're going dark
Let's
today.
go. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is the way it's going. So you do get better at that, but nonetheless, it's a real thing, like a fight or like anything else. Like you have to prepare in the way of knowing like, okay, this is some real shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
Word.
Well, let's go like a barbecue and throw some hatchets and
Yeah.
knives and swords and
good to me.
shit. Eat some meat. You guys are the best. Thanks for dropping in. Everybody watch the fights. Watch these guys do their work. And then you're gonna hopefully join the UFC at some point. Is that kind of the the idea?
I mean, I don't know. I'm with Bellator right now, and we're they're treating me
Super
well.
happy with
So
them.
yeah.
Yeah. So you're good there. You're good having a good time fighting in
I'm just,
Bellator.
excited to be improving so much, and then working with Cowboy for the last 3 years. Whenever his win streak started, it's
not to take credit, but
it's
just saying.
not to take any credit. I'm sure his son and the sauna had a lot to do with it. But ever since then, we've been working with the same team and helping each other, pushing each other, and
that's so
I'm
important.
excited to
Iron
see where I'm
sharpens
at.
iron, right?
Yeah,
like
sure.
getting great people around, people of like mind, heart, and then skills that you can learn from. I mean, that's got to be, and I'm sure vice versa. For your Bellator career, Cowboy's been a huge help.
For sure.
Helping you prepare and get ready for that level too.
100%.
A lot of fun.
It is. It
You
is.
guys
It
do
is.
that,
It is.
I know.
You guys are very blessed to have one of the few experiences that are left for humans on the planet. Like there's a very small percentage of people that get the opportunity to do what y'all do. And that's just, it's fucking cool. We can all do it in our own ways, but to do it in that particular way with the stakes that high and all the things that you mentioned, like it's a very small amount of people in the world that get to have that experience. So, even in the dark times, like that's something to remember.
For sure.
Well, good shit. Let's have some fun.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right. Peace, everybody.